Hello everyone, and welcome back to a special episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game. I have a really interesting topic for you today, and I've brought Danik here with me.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yes, thank you for coming on, and we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 today. Now, I'm bringing you into a rather controversial topic today. Are you ready?
Hit me with it.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with it. So on Twitter and YouTube, I put out a poll saying, hey, should the Switch 2 bring back the Wii U tablet to TV functionality? And pretty handily, 60% out of like 1,000 votes adamantly against it. A lot of impassioned responses because, the Switch is goated, and the thought of tampering with that is a little nerve-wracking. But I have an angle, I have an ulterior motive, and anyways, I'm excited to talk about it here today. So
this isn't going to lead you to Devil Survivor 3.
Dang it! I feel seen. But okay, so essentially what I'm here to talk about today is how can the NSO adopt the DS and the 3DS and how this links to the Switch 2, okay? Now,
that'd be a good marketing pitch. Launch the Switch 2, the DS is on there.
Oh my god.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the expansion pass is slowly but surely becoming more and more tantalizing. I mean, because with the recent addition of the GBA, GBC, and regular Game Boy, I love it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really cool, the offering, and it's only getting better. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. But I think the inevitable question on people's minds is what happens with the DS and 3DS? Because I think eventually there's no reason not to put on GameCube. Or there's no reason to not eventually maybe try to get Wii stuff on there, if at all possible. And I think the first thing to start off with is I don't think the Switch itself should change at all.
No, it'll just have more horsepower.
Yeah,
right?
I think the Switch 2, a lot of people seem more concerned about if it'll have OLED or if it'll have 4K. I think
that'll just come with tech.
Yeah,
it's what, 7-8 years removed from the original Switch now.
Right.
I figure, maybe not necessarily a 4K portable, but
right. What
if on the dock and the dock's got a little more hind end this time?
Yeah,
and outputs to 4K. Like that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable, and I think there's a pretty much a guarantee that Nintendo should. It makes sense. Keep the Switch itself the same, but just beef it up.
Why change what worked?
It needs to be 100. I think the biggest misstep they could do is not be backwards compatible.
Yeah, the obvious play is make a more horsepower Switch that's backwards compatible.
Yeah,
everyone's happy, right?
I think everyone's happy, and I think that's what we all ultimately want, and why a lot of people were probably let down that the Switch Pro never happened.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Totally agreed.
But I think what I'm kind of wanting to say here today is that I think the Switch 2, yes, it needs to beef up the Switch, but I think what it really needs to beef up and improve is the dock itself.
The docked experience?
Yeah, and I think when I originally put out that tweet for the poll, I was interested of what the basic sentiment is, and yeah, pretty handily, people are not wanting to go backwards with the Wii U.
Is the fear that you're wanting to tether them back to the TV?
Right. I think that was the overall sentiment I was getting from the comments, but why would you have to do that?
I don't think you would now.
Yeah, I think that if you just implemented a way to, if you're at home and you have the Switch, maybe you don't have a Pro controller, you can just hold down the share button or something and say stream to TV. It pairs immediately with your dock, and boom, you have a 4K image on your TV, and you can play with your Switch, but you're watching the TV. Hey, you want to leave, back right out of it, and go on your way. Essentially creating, just a better relationship between the dock and the Switch itself.
That would be pretty excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's a big improvement they could make with the Switch without sacrificing any major things people liked about the current model.
Yeah. Now, one thing that was interesting when we were looking at DS and on the Wii U and such like that is how people could play the Wii U with DS games.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, so a lot of you who may not be aware, because the Wii U flopped. I don't think that's
big story.
That's not news to anybody. But you could turn the Wii U sideways and have a top and bottom screen. And with the Joy-Con system, you could in theory I just
you just have one screen that's both the top
and hold it
bottom.
on the sides with the Joy-Con. Just add a different railing type attachment.
Remember, and I'm going off on it. Did you see the like shmup thing where they made a controller attachment?
Is banging.
That'd be perfect.
And that's just so weird to me. And I don't know what it is, like when you like are looking at something and it's really confusing and a big problem and you just have this aha moment. When I saw that screen with the Wii U on its side, I'm like, why?
Of course.
Why? That removes kind of the awkwardness some people feel of emulating a DS or 3DS where there's a small screen on the side and then a larger part of the screen is donated.
And then you have like the black bars on the side with doing nothing.
But like if you flipped it, I mean, it's like, why isn't this already a thing?
Yeah.
Like take advantage of those Joy-Con design, you know? But
with that in the Switch 2, you could like have it connect with the dock, and then the same Wii U, the top screen's on the TV, your bottom screen's on the Switch 2. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be sick, you know? And then you can sell like, you know, Nintendo stylus or whatnot. I mean, you know, you can have a really snug fit with a stylus into
the Wii U had a stylus, didn't it?
Yeah, awesome. It did. And I'm just like, all the answers are there if we just take the best of everything and put it together.
Because like the Etrian Odyssey trilogy is coming out.
Yes.
And it's taking like that Steam Deck emulator approach you and I saw.
Yeah.
Where they're just shoving the like bottom screen in the corner and you can like swap screens.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned, that's not like the super coolest situation.
Right.
It works, but
it totally works. And I think a lot of people now, I don't know if I've seen where they switch screen, like you probably hit a button and it switches which one you're looking at. But either way, that works and it's totally good. And I think people would be open to that. But I think though that if we just get a better situation with the dock itself, we can have the extreme perfect portability of the Switch, a much beefier system to play on the go. We don't need to redesign all our new games around this quote-unquote gimmick.
Concept, no.
Yeah, but you can still have the option at how much development costs.
I can't imagine, like, since it's like we've seen in freeware emulator stuff, like, would it be that crazy?
Yeah, would it be that tough? I mean, like,
I did it on the Wii U.
I mean, I stream my phone to my TV all the time. You know, like, what's the deal with it? You know, what's the big issue?
Surely the dock could have whatever that needs to receive that.
Yeah, and I just think it would give a whole new life to the treasure trove of just banging games we have on the DS and 3DS. Because, you know, as we get further removed from it, the store's closing as of the recording of this video for the 3DS here in like 2 weeks. Yeah, and I mean, the market is a nightmare scape right now. If you want to get like a new DS.
It is wild.
Yeah, it's
the Wild West out there.
It's gross. It's really gross right now. But to be able to preserve that, and then if like Nintendo did decide, let's say, to port over, like we just got the Metroid Prime remaster, which it blew Nintendo away. Nintendo seemed shooketh the fact that people are uber into Metroid right now. You can't hardly buy them physically for a while. You know, I mean, I'm seeing people post all the time, just picked up Metroid Prime Remaster. Could you imagine if Switch 2 comes out and you get a remaster port of like Samus Returns? And you know, and you'd have that functionality to do it on your TV. I mean, that's sick. Just the possibility of making it much more accessible and easier to remaster and port these games over with just like that simple upgrading the dock itself. Keep the goated Switch and have just a new outlet for the NSO. Because
there's no way Nintendo's gonna let this DS 3DS library die, right?
I don't think so.
Please God, no.
Please God, no. Because I mean, everybody's discovering how cool and incredible GBA games are right now. You know, there's a whole new audience because, you know, I learn more and more every day just how far I am and, you know, we are removed from like the tip of the spear of gaming.
Sure.
And a lot of people, you know, and it's...
These are new experiences to a lot of people.
Yeah, if somebody says like, hey, you know, tell me what Metroid looked like or Mario looked like 20 years ago, you know, it turns out it's not Mario 64, you know, and it's just kind of like, you know, there's a whole new generation of gamers that...
Well, we saw that a bunch of people were playing Fusion for the first time. And we're like, wow. like to us, we got that when it came out. Yeah. It was cool.
And like, game slaps. It rocks.
It's like, man, it's like there's a whole group of people who are now of that age we were. And you're like, oh, we're old, man.
Yeah, it stings. But I just think, though, that bringing the DS and 3DS to the NSO,
it's such a home run.
It's such a home run, especially with, like, you know, Xbox is touting, you know, Game Pass. You have PlayStation with its implementation of PS Plus. I mean, it just makes sense to slowly but surely cram all of the NSO offerings with, like, their previous library on there. And another thing I pray to God is that we don't get a new store. I know that sounds dumb to mention, but I feel like with Nintendo, it is worth mentioning that please don't create the Switch 2 eShop. Just make the NSO be it, make the eShop be it, and stop with all that jazz.
If you want to make it easier to browse, that's fine. But
you know what you talk about? The most impossible thing I'd love to see happen is if they do that with that. Could you allow me to link my 3DS digital games to my Switch? It'll never happen. Can I have my Wii U eShop games on my Switch too? Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. But it would be cool.
Just take Switch backwards compatibility for now.
Yeah, I'll take that. We'll take what we can get. But anyways, this is just our ramblings about this. I was really interested to see just how many people were outright against it. But maybe
I just assume it's like that. Like, you don't want to take away feature, and it's not like you're wanting to retether them to a TV.
Right, yeah. And I don't think anybody would want that.
No.
Good God. No. I mean, I couldn't go back to just playing these 100-hour-long Xenoblade 4, 150 hours sitting in front of a TV. I don't think I could do it.
No, not a chance.
Yeah, we have to have the portability.
The Pandora's box isn't going back in.
We can't do it. But anyways, that's just our thoughts. How about you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this down in the comments. Was there any Wii U fans that watched the channel?
Present.
Can I get a holla?
Hey, 5-player Nintendo Land was rad. Bring that back, Nintendo.
Right, yeah, come on, let's do it. In Miiverse, somebody commented that. I was like, oh my God, we need the Miiverse back. Why did they get rid of that? I know it was kind of like
the last bastion of the Wild West of the internet.
Yeah, but like, okay. All right, yeah, maybe. I didn't think about the dark.
It got a little wild.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Nintendo's not known for their curated internet content.
We're answering the deep questions of the internet. But that's enough of us. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining me, Dana.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
As always.
And I want to give a big thank you to the members of the channel and the supporters. Just thank you for everything. I cannot say that enough. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more discussions on the Nintendo. And until then, we'll see you next time.